October 20th, 2020. The world watched as Nigerian youths were shot at the Lekki toll gate for demanding an end to police brutality. We called it EndSARS. We thought it was unprecedented. But what if I told you that the script for that tragedy was written over 70 years ago? What if I told you that the Nigerian police force was designed to do exactly what they did at Lekki because of an event that happened on November 18th, 1949? This is the story of the Iva Valley Massacre, the bloodiest chapter of British colonial rule in peacetime Nigeria. And the moment the fight for independence actually began, this was the original EndSARS. Welcome to Enugu, 1949. Under British rule, this wasn't just a city, it was the engine room of the colony. The coal mine here powered the railways that took Nigeria's resources to the coast to be shipped to Britain. The men working these mines were treated less like employees and more like industrial machinery. They worked underground in dangerous conditions, facing physical abuse from British supervisors, racism, and wages that could barely feed their families. In 1949, inflation was rising. The miners demanded a raise. They were owed arrears back pay that the colonial government refused to release. So they protested. But they didn't just walk off the job. They used a tactic called a gut. They went to work, but they worked deliberately, slowly. To the British administration, this was terrifying. A strike is one thing, but a go-slow looked like sabotage. It felt like a rebellion. Tensions rose. The miners became more assertive. The British management became paranoid. They feared the miners would steal the explosives used for blasting coal to start an armed revolution. So the colonial government made a fatal decision. They sent in the police. On November 18, 1949, a detachment of armed police, led by a British officer named Captain F.S. Phillip, arrived at the Iva Valley mine to remove the explosives. The miners were there. They were chanting. They were singing protest songs. They were unarmed. Captain Phillip, reportedly nervous and despising the natives, claimed the miners were doing a war dance. He claimed he felt threatened. He gave the order, "Fire." It wasn't a warning shot. They fired directly into the crowd. 21 miners were killed instantly. 51 were severely wounded. But here is the detail that makes your blood run colder, detail confirmed by forensic reports at the time. Most of the miners were shot in the back. They weren't charging the police. They were running away. They were murdered for asking for their wages. The British thought this would crush the workers' spirit. Instead, it did the opposite. News of the massacre spread like wildfire. For the first time, the ethnic divisions in Nigeria dissolved. The North, the West, and the East were united in grief and rage. Political titans like Nnamdi Azikiwe formed the National Emergency Committee. They stopped fighting each other and started fighting the British. Historians often say that if you want to find the exact moment the British lost Nigeria, it wasn't in 1960. It was that afternoon in Iva Valley. The illusion of the benevolent colonial master was shattered. The people saw the colonial police for what they were, an occupying force designed to protect resources, not people. Today, there is a monument in Enugu to these martyrs, but the real legacy isn't in stone, it's in the system. When we looked at the police brutality during EndSARS, we were looking at the ghost of Captain Philip. We were seeing a policing culture that was never decolonized, a force created to suppress the citizens rather than serve them. The miners of Iva Valley didn't have hashtags, they didn't have live streams, but they paid the ultimate price for the freedoms we are still fighting for today. Never forget Iva Valley. If you found this history valuable, please share this video. The algorithm doesn't like these topics, so we rely on you. Subscribe for more hidden Nigerian history.